What is up? I'm your host, Natasha Bryant, and it's time for another lesson. Lesson number two for our eight-part series, Lessons for Authentic and Purpose-Driven Living. If you haven't done so already, I don't know what you're waiting for. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel so you do not miss any more of the lessons. So you can get notified when I drop lesson number three. Make sure you follow, make sure you like the videos, share them with people that you know could really be blessed by the information that is being shared. And of course, watch all the other previous videos as well, because there's some other gems in the previous videos that I have right here on the Speak Like Transformation TV YouTube channel. But let's get right into lesson number two. So, one of the things about purpose driven living is being able to walk as your authentic self. And that's what lesson number two is all about. Lesson number two is titled Walk as Your Authentic Self. And I want to share with you different ways on how to do that. What I first want to challenge you in figuring out who your authentic self is, right? Because many times the issue with walking in as our authentic self is we don't even know who that person is because we've been doing so much overthinking and analyzing about how that will be perceived by others. Will it be accepted by others? Or maybe you've been rejected by others when you showed up as your authentic self. And so now you're overanalyzing, overthinking about how to show up in a way that will never allow the rejection to happen again. And it's more of acceptance. And so, what I want you to think about is what version of you do you keep trying to silence? Or a version of you that people have been silencing? Because more than likely, that's your authentic self. That version of you where you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, I can't show up in that way. That's doing too much. That version of me is too much. Or that version of me people don't understand. Or that version of me is too unique and too different, and people aren't going to get it. People aren't going to like it. So I just need to keep that version of me quiet, under kept, put that on the rug. Only let the people that I know and trust, or that I know would appreciate that version, only get to see that version, right? That more than likely is your authentic self. That is the version of you that you need to let out. Because when you decide to let that version out, you feel the freedom of just being you. And you're no longer overthinking, overanalyzing, and doing detective work of how people are receiving you, perceiving you, and looking at body languages to see what people are thinking or trying to assume what people are thinking so you could then know how to respond. That's a lot of stress when you're in social settings. That's probably why you may not even want to be in social settings a lot of times because it's stressful. Your brain is overworking all the time. You take in so many different emotions because you're trying to read people so clearly so you don't get rejected that you can't even be present in the moment. And so part of being authentic, right? Not even just part of being authentic, but the reason why it's a necessity to be your authentic self and to know who that version of you is that you must have that clarity in order to be able to walk in your purpose, know your purpose. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know who you are authentically, then it's going to be really hard to walk in your purpose and know who you are at the core. If you don't know who you are at the core, then how can you know what your purpose is? And if you don't walk as your authentic self, then how can you know who you are at the core? See the connection there? And so the thing I want you to think about, right, is if you don't know what your passions are, if you don't know what your strengths are, if you don't know what your core values are, right, if you don't know what you like, what you dislike, then it can be really hard to know what your purpose is because your core values, your passions, your strengths, they all make up you. But a lot of times when we're living for other people, we lose sight of what does it mean to live for myself. When we're so worried about perfecting the understanding of what other people like, what other people dislike, pleasing other people, caring for other people, making sure everybody else's needs are okay, we don't even recognize, don't even have the time or take the time to think about what do I need? What is it that I like or what I dislike? And then you lose sight of who you are as an individual, right? And when you don't know who you are as an individual, it becomes really difficult to be able to answer the questions like, what do you want? What are your goals? What is your why? It becomes really hard to answer those questions when you don't know who you are. So here I have a challenge for you. This is your challenge. I know you were thinking, like, Natasha, all right, so what's the challenge? I know you got something for me because, class is in session. Yes, you're right. So here is your challenge. I want you to write this down. Because if you're thinking, Natasha, I honestly, I don't know what I want. I don't know what my goals are, or I don't even know if the goals or what I want is truly what I want and not really based on what I think other people want or need me. And so this is the way to do that. First is write down 10 of your core values. Make a list. List 10 of your top core values. And when I'm mentioning core values, I'm thinking, your core value is something that you believe in, right? It's different characteristic traits, different experiences that are meaningful to you, things that are most important to you. And then out of that 10, choose your top five. The top five out of that 10 that are non negotiables. I call them non negotiables because these are the ones that you have to have in your life. Like, you're like, this is non negotiable. Like, these are values that I need in my life to really feel like my authentic self, to really live my purpose driven life, to really feel fulfilled in my life. These values need to happen for me. But I even challenge you even further to try to knock it down to just three. Get really specific. And then what I want you to do next is think about five of your passions. And the reason I'm giving you specific numbers because sometimes you can go on for days just listing things and not being intentional about really choosing your core ones or the ones that's most important, the ones that mostly matter. Or you can just write one down because you're not pushing yourself to really think deeply about what it is that you want or what it means for you. So that's why I'm giving you these numbers. So 10 core values, then choose your top five negotiables, but I challenge you to push yourself to choose three, five of your passions. Passions are things, experiences that you would be devastated if you can no longer experience those things in your life. Different experiences that really are important to you, that really bring you a level of joy. You'd be really upset if you no longer could experience it ever again in your life. And also different topics or issues that you will be eager to advocate for. So here's an example. For me, I can give you three of my top core values. Travel is a value for me. I love to travel. And the reason why I love to travel because it also hits my other core value, adventure. I love to engage in adventure in the sense of like experiencing new things, experiencing new cultures, experiencing new anything really, like doing things that are different out of the norm, out of what I'm used to. And travel allows me to do that. And then another core value of mine is humor. I need humor in my life. I need to be able to laugh. I need to be able to joke. And if I'm in settings that are just too serious, too buttoned up, too conservative, I lose my joy because I just like to joke. I like to laugh. I like to be silly, as you can tell. Um, and then one of my passions is travel. So you might see that one of your values might also be a passion of yours. And it may not be. But one thing is for sure that your core values and your passion should align. They should have some type of connection. If they're disconnected, then something's off because your values represent what you're passionate about. And what you're passionate about are signs of what you value. They intertwine. So sometimes they might be the same. If they're not the same, they connect in some way. And then the last two things I want you to do is I want you to list 10 things that you're good at. So your skill sets, hard or soft skills, things that you do well, and then 10 things that make you great. And by doing this exercise, you'll automatically start to really learn who you are. Who are you as your authentic self? What are your strengths? What makes you a great person? What are your core values? What are you passionate about, right? All those things are going to help you define who you are at the core and what makes you you authentically, which then can allow you to finally step in the shoes of your authentic self and start walking as your authentic self. Now get your homework done because lesson 3 is going to come with another round of a challenge. So get your, and if you didn't do lesson 1 or if you haven't watched lesson 1, make sure you go back to the YouTube channel so you can be able to check out lesson 1. If you didn't do your homework, make sure you do your homework for lesson 1 and number 2, because as you can see, they all connect. You need to do one in order so you can start growing and building, because these lessons are building on each other, as you can see. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe, share this with somebody. And if you're thinking, Natasha, I would love some more from you, like this is great. How can I get more? How can I connect with you more? Well, I have a freebie for you. Click the link in the bottom in the show notes where you can be able to access a free training. It's a short, brief training, but it's jam packed with some really great strategies that's going to help you really pursue that career dream, that career life. And I'm going to give you specific strategies on how to do that. That's going to help you get past the fear, the uncertainty, the doubts, so you can confidently and boldly and unapologetically, of course, go after the life that you deserve and you desire. So click the link in the show notes to be able to access that free video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Speak Life Transformation, Facebook at Living Speak Life. And as always, until I see you again, make sure you be bold, be safe, and speak life.